Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Quantum here back with Noah. In today's video, we're reacting to the Kawhi Leonard trade. It's worse than we imagined. Where did Kawhi? Why is everybody getting traded now, man? It's like Ja got traded, blah blah. Giannis got traded. Le, LeBron's a free agent, so he ain't get traded. He's just free agent. Bro, everybody is getting traded. I don't know why, man. But let's see what the Kawhi Leonard trade is about, bro. This is literally by my boy Mike. We literally watched it like last video. So, without further ado, let's get into the video.
Where it does appear Kawhi Leonard will make his return to Canada. Since the seven-time All-Star.
Canada, man. Is it Canada?
Where it does appear Kawhi Leonard will make his return to Canada. Since the seven-time All-Star to the Raptors, per multiple reports, receive
back to the Raptors, my bro.
Package that includes Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, 2 first-round picks.
Grady Dick, bro. Come on now.
Still being finalized.
So Kawhi Leonard just got traded. Think about who we're talking about for a second. This is a 2-time champion, a 2-time Finals MVP, a guy a lot of people will tell you is the best two-way player of his entire generation. And he is now on his way to another new team. Because over the last 8 years, Kawhi Leonard has burned down the most stable franchise in all of sports. He won a title for an entire country and then walked out the second the parade ended. And he spent 7 years and a mountain of draft picks on a super team in LA that never made it out of the second.
Eliminated the playoffs. First round, eliminated in the play-in. How you played twice, bro? Second round, never made it to the third round, by the way.
Round with both of its stars healthy. But that's not even the craziest part. The craziest part of this entire situation is this trade nearly didn't happen at all. Not because of the money or the lack of assets, but because of a federal investigation that's been hanging over this guy like a storm cloud for more than a year. I'm gonna
what is it?
All of this down because you need to understand how truly insane this trade is. Now, before we get to the content, we're giving away copies of GTA 6. All you have to do to enter is subscribe, turn on our notifications, and if you want additional entries, make sure you're followed on Instagram, Snapchat, X, and TikTok. And now that we got all that out of the way, the intro.
I need to get my editing like that, bro. I'll make myself an intro, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. I just put it in like every single video. Like no editing after that, but yeah.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody?
What's going on? Why is he always at the voice here? What's going on?
Alright, so let's set the table here, because in order to understand why this is such a big deal, you need to understand exactly the kind of player that we're dealing with here. And exactly
have a 2-time bro. This dude is dominating on both, like, offense, defense. He's dominating, bro. Well, not like fully dominating, but he's great at offense, defense. Like most players are either good at one offense or 2 defense. So you get those defensive players and you got your offensive players. Now he's a both sides. Like I swear, you more athletic, bro.
What kind of career he's had. Kawhi Leonard, they call him the Claw. Hands the size of dinner plates.
The Claw, yo. No,
wingspan that doesn't look real, and the personality of a guy that's reading you terms and conditions before you decide to install your favorite video game.
I'm a fun guy. I don't even know where he's sitting at.
Yo, I remember that clip, bro.
The man doesn't talk, he doesn't tweet, or he'll just make a random cameo in a Drake music video just because he feels like it. He laughs in public maybe once a year and it instantly becomes a meme.
It's personal.
But on the floor, Kawhi is one of one, a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, a 7-time All-NBA player. And he is one of the only 3 players in the history of the league to win Finals MVP with 2 different teams. The other 2 names on this list are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James. That's the company. That's the entire list. Just 3 guys. So we're not just talking about a really good player here. We're talking about a top of the mountain, change the future of your franchise type of superstar. But Kawhi Leonard comes with a lot of baggage. One of those things is the fact that throughout his entire career, Kawhi has never, not a single time, just stuck around. Every chapter of his career has ended with him leaving San Antonio, Toronto, and now Los Angeles. 3 franchises, 3 exits, and we're gonna walk through all 3 because I promise you the way each one ended tells you everything about why.
He just walks in, walks out. He walks in, walks out of like a whole entire franchise. I'm like, bro, come on now. It's like, yeah, I just can't do this anymore. Like, man. When it was the same, hey, forget it, bro.
On the move right now. So let's start at the beginning. The San Antonio Spurs. Back in 2011, the Spurs traded for quiet, raw kid out of San Diego State. They gave up George Hill to get him. A legitimate starting guard, by the way. This wasn't a throwaway. And the basketball world kind of shrugged at this. You have to understand that Kawhi Leonard didn't come into the NBA as a complete project. He was viewed as a player that would provide instant defense and had the tools to eventually become good if he was able.
So he was by that baggy shorts era.
To develop an offensive game, primarily work on
that shot,
jump shot. And you fast forward 3 years after a ton of time and investment by the San Antonio Spurs, the kid was standing at center court holding the Finals MVP trophy, having just taken down LeBron James and the Miami Heat super team in the 2014 Finals. Mind you that he did this at 22 years old. And Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches who have ever lived, a man who hands out compliments like
Popovich, bro. Yo, he's tough.
Coming out of his own wallet, by the way, basically looked at Kawhi and said that man is the future of our franchise. And for a couple of years, that's exactly what it was. Back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year, an MVP level jump in 2017, where he finished 3rd in voting. The Spurs were about to go from David Robinson to Tim Duncan to Kawhi Leonard. The dynasty was just
that's crazy, man.
Gonna keep rolling. It seems like the Spurs were never gonna be in a place where they had to rebuild. And then it fell apart over one injury. And this is probably one of the most impactful injuries in NBA history. Because this became...
What did he tear? Did he tear his Achilles? Or what? Because he laying on the ground, bro. I don't think he broke his toe, man. I swear if he sprained his toe or broke his toe, bro. I swear.
The theme of Kawhi Leonard's career. In the 2017 playoffs, Kawhi came down on Zaza Pachulia's foot and tweaked his ankle. That turned into a quad problem.
Wow, bro.
And this wasn't your typical quad injury. This was a nagging, weird injury that just simply wouldn't go away. And it turned into something very toxic. Kawhi and his camp did not trust the Spurs medical staff with it. The most respected training and medical operation in the league. Mind you, that the Spurs training staff made Kawhi Leonard who he is. But still, Kawhi Leonard wanted second opinion somewhere else. So he went to New York to see his own doctors. And he sat, and he sat. He played 9 games in the entire 2017 to 2018 season.
Games, bro. Imagine you say, "Oh yeah, Kawhi my favorite player." This dude's playing 9 games on one season, bro. Bro, you usually pick one of the bench players, man.
Couldn't.
Bro, I don't pick one of the bench players at that point because he's getting more PT than this dude, man.
Process this because the Spurs core of Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili were essentially on their last dance. They held a players-only meeting to try to get him back on the floor, and Tony Parker reportedly told the room that he'd come back from a worse version of that same injury, which was a huge mistake by Tony. You don't say that out loud unless the trust is already dead. Teammates were openly wondering if Kawhi even wanted to be out there. So what did Kawhi do? He requested a trade from the Spurs, the team that drafted him, developed him, and won a championship with him. He wanted out, and specifically, he wanted to go home to LA. He's from Moreno Valley, an hour outside of the city.
Oh, LA.
went to San Diego State University for college, so he wanted to get traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And Greg Popovich said, there's zero chance that I'm going to do this for you. So at the time, this was viewed as Pop pretty much trolling Kawhi Leonard. He traded him all the way to Canada, to the Toronto Raptors for DeMar DeRozan, Jakob Poeltl, and a protected first-round pick.
Bro, DeMar DeRozan, bro, and like, that's crazy. That's W trades.
That was exit number one.
Oh, like 15 exits.
Now this is where the story has a comical twist. Kawhi Leonard had one of the best seasons of his entire career for the Toronto Raptors. When the Raptors made that trade, half the league thought Masai Ujiri had completely lost it. He gave up DeMar DeRozan, a franchise icon, a guy who genuinely loved that city, for a player who was hurt, who just blown up his last team, and who could walk out the door as a free agent in 1 year. It was the textbook definition of a gamble, but the media moments we got from this in of itself made it all worth it.
I'm a fun guy. Obviously, I love the game of basketball. I don't even know where you're sitting at.
And then Kawhi went out and gave Toronto the single greatest season in the history of the franchise. He load managed the regular season. He sat for
22 games is crazy.
Games, which drove the fan base up the wall. But when the playoffs hit, he turned into something out of a movie. The man gentleman swept the Orlando Magic in the first round, and then in the second
airball, bro. We're not gonna talk about that airball and then put it back
against the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 7, tie game.
I remember this game. Why does it make it seem like it's so old, bro? This is like 4 years ago, bro. Like it's 2019.
4.2 seconds left on the clock, and Kawhi Leonard does this.
Is this the dagger?
It was the first Game 7 buzzer beater in the entire history of the NBA. Kawhi dropped 41 points that night, and he's down in the corner screaming. I don't think I've ever seen Kawhi Leonard give this much emotion before in his life. This shot sent Toronto to the conference finals, and from there, Kawhi dragged them past Giannis and the Bucks and beat a Golden State Warriors dynasty in the finals to win Canada its first ever championship. His second finals MVP with a different team.
We include Canada to everything, bro. Yeah, like, I think Canada's in hockey, and then we got, like, bro. I know it's close, but, like, dang. Really?
In a different conference, but the same result. A trophy. He united an entire country. He had Drake giving post-game interviews like he was a member of the team.
This is poetic. You just gotta watch it happen. The 6-6, Kyle Lowry with the ring, Kawhi Leonard bringing the chip to the city.
And then he left. He kept his promise. He said that he wanted to go to LA. So in free agency, the summer of 2019, Kawhi Leonard went home to sign with the Los Angeles Clippers. 1 year, one title, gone. To this day, Kawhi Leonard is simultaneously the most beloved athlete in Toronto history and the guy who left them standing at the altar the second the confetti hit the floor. That's exit number 2, and to be honest, it may have been
crazy, bro. Say yeah. Okay, I'll do this little parade or whatever, bro. Yo, we gotta do it, bro. I had to get to LA, bro. Yo, LA Clipper. Yo, I remember this season.
Biggest mistake of his career. Let me remind you who the Toronto Raptors had at the time, because this is one of the deepest teams in NBA history. This is a team that had Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Marc Gasol, Jonas Valanciunas, Norman Powell, Serge Ibaka.
God dang, bro. He just naming and naming.
Believe it or not, even Jeremy Lin was on this team. And he pretty much decided...
I don't remember, like, a few games his name's been, like, mentioned. But I don't remember, it's like, Kawhi! Like, bro. I don't remember every single game to her.
To leave for a team that eventually became the opposite of that depth. When Kawhi signed with the Clippers, he didn't come alone, and this is a move that completely screwed the Clippers in the future. Doc Rivers told Kawhi Leonard that he should stay pat with the current team that was built around him, that he felt like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was going to be a good player.
We cannot give up Shai. I even told Kawhi.
And then he became a good player. Holy.
when he was saying, like, I need another guy. And Kawhi will verify. I kept saying, Kawhi, Shea's going to be a star.
But Kawhi wanted a co-star now, another two-way player that essentially could do most of what he does. So the Clippers went out and traded for Paul George, and the price for this was absolutely insane, and this is a trade that lives in infamy. They sent OKC Shai Gilgeous-Alexander plus Danilo Gallinari plus a staggering haul of draft picks, the kind of package you only caught
like, what the
when you are dead certain that this will win you a championship. The guy the Clippers tossed into that deal as a throw-in turned into a regular season MVP in back-to-back seasons and the best player on a championship team in OKC. So that price tag looks even more brutal with hindsight. But in 2019, nobody even blinked. Kawhi plus PG was a super team. They were the title favorites. Vegas had them number one. And here's everything that they got for it. In 2020 in the bubble, the Clippers took a 3-1 series lead on the Denver Nuggets in the second round, and they blew it. It wasn't a soft blow.
Bro, the bubble, bro, I haven't heard the bubble in a little minute, bro.
They had double-digit leads in 3 straight games and gained back every single one of them. In Game 7,
We're like half the rest. Okay, there's like 2 rests. I'm like, bro.
I and Paul George combined for 24 points on 10 of 28
COVID season.
And missed all 11 of their shots in the fourth quarter.
I see like everybody's social
They were
distancing.
scoreless in the fourth quarter of a Game 7. With a trip to the Western Conference Finals on the line, and it stings even more when you consider how exciting
Yo,
the trip to the Western Conference Finals would have been. It
what's
was
the score right now, bro?
been the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Los Angeles Clippers in the bubble. So you wouldn't have a bunch of Laker fans cramming into Crypto Arena, or back then Staples Center, and giving the Lakers home court advantage every single game. This would be the Clippers versus the Lakers at a neutral site and would have easily been one of the most entertaining battles of Los Angeles that we've ever seen in NBA history. And we got robbed of that. And Doc Rivers would get fired 3 weeks later, although at the time,
What did Doc Rivers do, bro? I remember he getting fired, bro. I remember that game too. I don't know why.
I speculated other reasons for that. And if you want to go deep into the Flight Mic library to see my original takes on why
5 years ago?
it happened, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm not going to rehash that gossip here. Now, in 2021, with Ty Lue as their head coach, they finally broke through to the franchise's first ever conference finals. Except Kawhi tore his ACL in the second round against Utah and watched the entire
Holy poor, bro. Bro, just scroll through and just say, oh, do I have a video of that? Yeah, let's throw that up right now.
from the bench in a
You
suit.
put the info card. I always click
They lost to Phoenix, and that knee cost him the whole next season. He didn't play in a single game in 2021 to 2022, and that became the pattern. You go back to the San Antonio thing for a second. The body that won't cooperate, the season's cut in half. It followed him to LA, and it never left. Year after year, the same story. A contender on paper, and then it's Kawhi's knee, or it's load management, or it's a brand new injury right when the playoffs start. For 6 years, the Clippers had 2 superstars. A shiny new $2 billion arena, and with both of his stars...
$2 billion? Dang, bro. Like, this... Bro, Ellie loves spending money on anything but the civilians, bro.
healthy, the Clippers never got out of the second round. Not once. That's the Clippers era in a nutshell. The most expensive what-if in modern NBA history.
Oh,
Everybody knows that the place to find a place
keep
is
the ad right there.
.com.
Holy good ad break.
It's like the end of an era, but I've had my biker moment. Plus, I listed this on eBay in like 2 seconds.
So how do you from title favorite to shipping the guy out the door, slowly and then all at once? It started cracking in 2024 when Paul George, the co-star, the whole reason for the super team, walked. The Clippers offered him an extension but wouldn't give him a no-trade clause that he wanted. The two sides couldn't bridge it. PG opted out of $48.8 million and signed a 4-year, $212 million deal with Philadelphia. The super team was officially dead.
And then Philadelphia made further.
And instead of
See, look, bro. I feel like, yo, every time you lose like a significant player, like a trash player, bro, the place can turn into a superstar, bro. Come on now.
getting it back,
Like that,
Clippers started
that dude just straight dominated from like day one.
quietly tearing the whole thing down to the studs. They traded James Harden to Cleveland and got Darius Garland back. They sent Ivica Zubac to Indiana for a package that included a top 5 pick, which in my opinion they won this trade because they were able to use that number 5 pick on Keaton Wagler. All of a sudden, the Clippers weren't building around Kawhi anymore. They were building around young, cheap, fast guards and a draft pick. A completely different team and a completely different timeline. And here's the cruel irony in all of it. While the front office was clearly moving on from him, Kawhi just went out and had one of the best seasons of his
bro. Yo, I feel like this is just easiest, man. Look, bro. Imagine back then when you wanted to learn about a player, you had to do your actual research. I could sit here watch this video, learn all about why this dude's leaving, and never leave my seat, bro. Like what?
Career. This past year, he averaged 27.9 points per game on 50.5% shooting, grabbed 6.4 rebounds, dished 3.6 assists, and finished 7th in MVP voting at 34 years old. And despite all this, the team still lost the play-in. So you've got a franchise quietly building toward a future that doesn't include him, and a player who's somehow still their best guy. That kind of tension was never going to hold. Something had to give. This brings us to the money, and to the thing that almost killed this entire trade in its tracks.
Bro, I think LeBron's in his like 40s, bro.
Was the fact that Kawhi is set to
still dominant. He's not dominating, but like he's still going at it.
$50.3 million this coming season, and that's the last year of his deal. He signed a
dang, bro. Like, are you gonna ever take some braids out your head?
Year extension back in January of 2024, and now he's eligible for a new one. But here's the catch that the Clippers ran into. By all accounts, they wanted Kawhi Leonard to take a pay cut to stick around. And think about the guy.
I'd rather do, bro. At least like his lining with that, bro. Like pre-game lining.
Spent 15 minutes describing a 2-time Finals MVP, top 7 in the league in MVP votes this year. There's a real question of whether he says yes to that. No extension and no reason to keep him on an expiring deal. And that's the math that put him on the trade block. Think about what the Charlotte Hornets did with LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges. The moment that the question of LaMelo Ball's injury history disappeared, they traded him to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the same thing is happening to Kawhi Leonard here. The moment he turns in the best season of his entire career at this age without having any injury concerns, playing in 65 games, which is the second most in his Clippers career, the Clippers officially were able to boost his value enough to trade him. But there's one big problem. For over a year now, Kawhi and the Clippers have been at the center of a federal investigation tied
thumbnail, bro.
A company called Aspiration. Basically the question of whether the Clippers funneled money to Kawhi off the books to skirt the salary cap. It's genuinely a massive story, and it's serious enough that Brian Windhorst went on Get Up and said he wasn't even sure the league would allow the Clippers to trade Kawhi until that investigation is resolved, which is what our last video on this situation was on if you guys want to check it out.
Dang, bro, you making these videos so quickly.
This is what brought us to today. The Kawhi Leonard era in Los Angeles is over. The most nomadic
2 days, and then he put it yesterday too. Wow.
Of his generation, a guy who's already won a title and walked away from it twice, is on the move one more time. 3 franchises, 3 exits, and now a 4th chapter for a player who is now 35 years old. And the wildest part is exactly what we said at the very beginning. How each chapter ended always told the whole story. San Antonio ended in a trust war, Toronto ended the night the confetti dropped, and LA is ending in a teardown under a federal cloud. And this ending, this one's got a twist that nobody could have written. But here's how all this ends. After everything, the Spurs, the title in Toronto, the 1 season and gone, 6 years and a banner's worth of what if in LA, Kawhi Leonard is going back to Toronto, the team he won a championship for, the team he walked away from after 1 year. 7 years later, he's a Raptor again. And I gotta be honest with you, when this hit my phone, I just sat there for a second, because we already talked about this, and it felt unreal seeing Shams actually post it. The full circle nobody really believed would happen actually happened. So
breaking news. This is really breaking news, bro.
Down this trade. Here's exactly what Toronto gave up to bring Kawhi Leonard home, and why the Clippers, a team that swore for 2 straight years they wanted to win with this guy, finally decided to let him walk out the door for good. The headliner going back to LA is Brandon Ingram. Toronto sent Brandon Ingram, Grady Dick, and multiple first-round picks for Kawhi Leonard. That's the deal. A former All-Star that the Raptors got for relatively cheap, a 22-year-old on a rookie contract, and draft capital for a 35-year-old who just had the best scoring season of his life. And here's what's impressive. The Clippers originally wanted Colin Murray Boyles, the 9th pick in last year's draft, and the Raptors said no. They drew a line at the one young piece they actually loved, the guy who flashed in the playoffs against Cleveland, and they still got the deal done. When you refuse to move your best prospect and the trade happens anyway, that's a front office that knew exactly what it was willing to pay and didn't blink. So Kawhi's got 1 year left at $50.3 million. That's a massive expiring deal. Ingram is worth $40 million next season on his own deal. You stack Grady Dick's rookie scale salary on top and the money lines up. This works cleanly under the rules. Nobody's bending the cap to make this legal, if you know what I mean. But the money's the whole story.
I thought it was gonna be like, oh my god,
one side here. For
guys, it's just not.
Clippers, Kawhi's $50 million comes off the books after this season no matter what. For Toronto, the bet is different. They're not just trading for 1 year of Kawhi. The entire reason this was Toronto and nowhere else is because the Raptors were one of only 2 teams that Kawhi would sign an extension with. So this isn't a rental. The expectation is he's gonna stay. So what does the roster actually look like now? Well, the Raptors are clearly building around Kawhi Leonard and Scottie Barnes. And that's the smart part of this. Toronto. This is still Scottie Barnes' team. He's 10 years younger and coming off of the best season of his career. Kawhi isn't here to take the franchise from him. He's here to be the closer that Toronto hasn't had since, well, the last time Kawhi was in Toronto. Put a guy that's averaging 27.9 a game and nearly 2 steals next to Barnes on the wing, and that defense gets nasty. But there's a huge
Great half. You gotta keep that pressure on. And he's the Aftercash Music credit card from Wells Fargo.
She's right.
Christian Pulisic.
Nice. Mom.
A huge risk, and that risk is what we spent the first part of this video explaining. You're betting,
bro, so you explain his whole career, bro,
on Kawhi Leonard staying healthy. You're betting a young first rounder and real draft capital.
He loves just spending multiple hours explaining who the this is, bro.
A 35-year-old whose knee has its own injury report. If he's healthy,
You have your own name.
Toronto's a problem in the East tomorrow. They are very well aware that they are capable of making a push to the top of the Eastern Conference with this trade. But if he's not, they just paid premium capital for a ghost that's on the downside of his career. It's the same bet that they made in 2018, and that one worked out pretty well. Now flip it to the other side of the spectrum, because for LA, this isn't a basketball trade. This is a teardown that's finishing itself off. They already shipped James Harden to Cleveland and Ivica Zubac to Indiana this past season. Kawhi was the final domino. The win now Clippers we've been talking about for 6 years are officially done. And now look at what they're building around instead. A young core of Darius Garland, Benedict Mathurin, and Keaton Wagler. Now with Brandon Ingram as the lead scorer and Grady Dick coming off the bench.
Oh, what the? Bro, you look like. Bro, wait. Does it look like. Bro. Like, bro, you. Like, when like, you know, the photographer says, do this and look tough. Like, bro, this dude's just a fucking troll, bro. I can tell.
That's not a contender, that's a reset.
Like, bro, this picture is a while ago.
Steve Ballmer spent more money than any owner in the sport chasing a ring with Kawhi and Paul George, and it ends with a rebuild. But here's the elephant that's still sitting in the room. The Clippers are still under NBA investigation for allegedly funneling money to Kawhi through that aspiration endorsement deal. They traded the guy at the center of a cap circumvention probe while the probe is still open. That's not a clean goodbye. That's a franchise that's trying to move on from a guy whose case isn't closed yet. So in the end, who do I think won this trade? Well, it's really hard to grade a trade like this because because you take a look at what each team wanted, and they kind of each got what they wanted. For the Clippers, they get at least something for Kawhi Leonard, a young sharpshooter, Brandon Ingram, 2 first-round picks, 1 pick swap, and 2 second-round picks. That's incredible capital for a player that just had one of his healthiest seasons of his Clippers career for you, and the best season of his career at his age 35 season. But if you look at this from Toronto's perspective, they didn't give up much at all. Remember, when the Raptors traded for Brandon Ingram, they originally just gave up Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, 1 first-round pick, 1 second-round pick. This is when nobody wanted Brandon Ingram. They pumped up his value and were able to make him the centerpiece of a Kawhi Leonard trade. So in my opinion, I would say Toronto won this deal. They got the best player in the deal, they kept the prospect they cared about, and they did it for an expiring money all-star that they were ready to move on from and a shooter. But for the Clippers, I don't even think they lost. They got out. There's a version of this where holding Kawhi for 1 more lottery...
Bro, everybody's just trying to get rid of their players, bro. That's all it is.
Season, and losing him for nothing is the real disaster. Instead, they turned a guy who's leaving anyway into a younger all-star, a shooter, and picks. When your superstar era ends in an investigation and a play-in loss, getting something back is the win. But I want to hear what your take is in the comment section down below. Aside from that,
yeah, we out. But great video. Make sure you subscribe to me. Make sure you subscribe to him. I'll catch y'all in the next one, alright?